Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's live SEO Q&A session with me and Mr. Chris Palmer, SEO, with his energy drink as well. The energy drink is not sponsored by the news guy, but the channel is. So also check out the news guy. The link is below if you want digital PR and all the good stuff that comes from digital PR, such as brand awareness, link equity, referring domain count, and all of that good stuff. So check out Randy on that. But also, water, Chris. How the fuck can you just mix Monster with water? It just doesn't seem right.
Well, it's kind of like even when you're taking medication, like with water. Like this to me is chemical water.
Yeah.
So I try to drink a gallon of water a day. Today I'm on my second gallon. So I don't know. I just do. I just feel like when I drink this, I still feel thirsty. So I just chug down some water. It's good for you.
Franklin is here. He's not seen you for months live. So Franklin, if you've missed him and you've got anything you want to ask, put it in the chat and we will work our way through as many questions as we possibly can. Yeah. And Hillary, good to see. Oh, Hillary, I remember you. Sem Rush. I didn't recognize that surname. But Hillary is here, and another one who doesn't watch us live all of the time. So wherever you are in the world, let us know where you are. And if you've got any questions, we will be more than happy to jump in and answer whatever you have. No such thing as a stupid question. And
only stupid answers.
Yeah, only stupid answers. But Franklin, I'm pretty sure Franklin. Oh, I know you comment on a lot of the videos. You might not be here in the live streams. That's right. Kazakhstan, Razul is here. Ursol is here. Sup, MF, Mother somethings.
Pakistan in the house.
Pakistan. So we've got people in America, we've got people. Franklin, where are you from, actually? I'm curious to know where Franklin's from. But it's weird. I still, from all over the globe, listening to this rough accent is never going to be. Yeah, it's cool. It's definitely cool. Nigeria, bloody hell. So, God. Santa Monica, that was the name I was looking for before. Been to Santa Monica, and that is where GTA was based on. And I went to, when I was in LA, drove up to Santa Monica just to check it out, and it was like a like for like with the GTA 5 game, which is fucking bizarre. But yeah. I remember talking about this. I don't know if it was in this or something else, but Santa Monica was the name I was looking for. And Nigeria, Franklin, that is... I think we've had a few guys from over that part of the world in the past, but don't know about specifically from Nigeria. There was a guy who actually came to our event, Chris. I can't remember his name. The guy... Yeah. And he lost his bag and shit. Like, what was his name?
He had to get like gas.
Yeah, that guy. He was from that part of the world. I'm not sure if it's that specific country, but yeah, well traveled. But Ursol has the first question. So do keep the questions rolling, guys. But Ursol is asking, talk me through your guest post strategy in terms of the topics you choose. Is there much conscious thought put into it?
Generally, if we're going to have a guest post for a client, then that would mean that the topic or the thought would be done on the client's behalf. If their site is a law firm, then the post is going to be in regards to something to do with law or a particular practice type. So we want it to be hyper relevant, like the title, the URL, the H1, the anchor text, the surrounding text, ideally the internal links pointing to that page too, but not always. And if we really want a winner, then maybe, just maybe, the site's also getting traffic for those types of terms. But generally, whatever we're pointing to, that's the thought. If I'm pointing to a medical malpractice page, well, then I'm going to create a medical malpractice guest post. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much all the thought right there.
I think Chris is very much along the lines of what I would do as well. I think too many people overthink it. And the big thing when it comes to guest posting is what is relevant or what do you consider relevant and stuff like that? Is it the domain in general? Are you looking for something specific, or can it be the topic, the URL, the page? Is that what we're aiming for? And I think there's obviously much debate as to what is topically relevant and what isn't. But as far as I'm concerned, if that page is talking about what you said, Chris, then that fits in with that criteria for as far as I'm concerned. So I'm much along the lines of you, but there are people who go deeper and think way too much about it. And I think a link is a link. And we sell digital PR, and we had a guy who didn't understand what digital PR is. So what we do, just for anyone who doesn't know, is we create something, a narrative around a particular business and try and shoehorn it into a news story. And so we done that, and we got the sign off and the approval. The guy comes back and says, the website's not fucking topically relevant. And we're like, what? The story's relevant. But, you are aware that we're sending this to news outlets. Like, that is what digital PR is. And, we send this out, and, whether it's a comment, a kind of quote, or whether it's a full article, we don't dictate what a journalist will accept. We've just got to, it's a numbers game, and we don't, we can't just get you on a completely topically relevant domain name. And the guy's like, nah, you've not done what I paid for. Give me my money back. And we're like, no. And we've delivered exactly what you fucking paid for. What's going on? So, yeah, obviously people's understandings of what topically relevant is obviously wild.
That piece right there, what you're selling and what they think they're buying and what you're selling, that's a education of the person that's buying, the consumer. Very difficult. Oh yeah, even the guest post thing, like that's been fun.
Their digital PR page clearly fucking states in big writing that it goes out to news outlets. I mean, we've got examples of the news outlets on the fucking page. There's nothing to suggest it's a guest post or the buyer dictates what website it goes on and all this stuff. It is fucking clear as day. But that's what we get. Anyway, yes, I messaged him then. I guess he was from a northern part of the country. Hillary, I have a new e-commerce site that's starting to rank for low keyword difficulty keywords, but has a low domain authority. Should I build backlinks to both the homepage and the product pages?
Well, it sounds like you're just starting out. Is it time? Would I start hammering it with links yet? That's for you to decide as far as the link building is concerned. I'd be building links to the page that I wanted to perform, and then getting some larger and or general type links to the homepage. But is it time yet? If it's just starting to pull in some type of traffic, it's for you to decide. What do you think, Craig?
I always go with the assumption that I'm going to need links anyway. So I would be building links before I even got to this stage. That's just me. I'm, unless you're in some peculiar, a really strange market, is no links likely to land you good positions and make lots of money?
That's probably
fair. Not. So, even before my website's built, I probably get citations done. I think always building up power to the overall domain, if you can get some PR done or whatever it might be, or some just generic guest posts just to power up the domain overall, is certainly one of the first things that I would be doing personally. And then what I'd like to see is where that product page lies, specifically, and would I be powering that up? The answer is 99% of the time out of 100. The answer is going to be yes, and I would be trying to do as much of that, if as quickly as I could, providing that the budget's also there, but also understand that if you're starting out, the budget might not be there, and you may be trying to make the money come in through the kind of low keyword, difficult keywords to be able to fund the growth of the business. So it really depends on the situation that you're in, but for me, I'd be all out aggressive on it, and I'd be building those backlinks ASAP
to both pages, homepage and the page.
the overall domain needs power, Chris. Like you're saying, build some generic powerful links, go do it. I also want to sell my fucking product. So I'm sending it to both. Why fuck around with one before the other? You just fucking do them both. That's it, done. End of story. So I'm an impatient guy. So maybe that's the wrong advice, Hillary. But yeah, I am powering up that overall domain, and I want to power up that product and see where it goes. How many do you buy? I don't know. That is really entirely up to you and what you feel the level of links you need to hit to get some movement. But hopefully that helps. But I would be going all out aggressive. I'm surprised at you, Chris. You gave a pussy answer there, like it's entirely up to you. Fuck me. You're not like that at all. You're all out aggressive as well.
Yeah, I know, but the site's just starting to rank for low KD keywords. It's just starting. And then you go firing in links, then it just sinks. And she's like, what happened?
Come on.
That's why I was like, build some to the homepage, build some more content,
Come on, Chris. I know you're
all right. I was a little weak there. You're right. Honestly, if it was me, I'd probably just start firing it in. But that's me.
Fucking hell. I really did not expect that from you of all people.
The guy said I am starting to get a little too white hat for them.
God. Alim, can we tailor content from Gemini, the competitor analysis, the keywords relevant to generate traffic from blogs? If so, how? Can you tailor content from Gemini to generate traffic from the blogs? If so, how?
So basically, can we craft content utilizing Gemini? Yes. Can we utilize this to get traffic? Maybe. Can I utilize this tool? There's a trillion tools in order to create pieces of content that could potentially lead to traffic. Of course you can. As far as the piece that you put in the middle here, the competitor analysis, the keywords relevant, that's like an added bonus. Like, those questions that you get, remember in school, and they'd give you like 3 parts. Like these 2 parts make the equation, and then this is just extra. That's kind of like what that is.
Yeah. But I think, Alim, the answer that I would give you is whether you use Gemini, whether you use something else, that part's not relevant. That can craft content. Is that content good enough to go straight onto a website? The answer is no. Or maybe it is, I don't know, on Gemini specific, but, I would certainly be following other parts of a process. And I think I've said it a million times before, human editing, running it through Surfer, Grammarly, and things like that. And then I would be a lot more confident that could generate traffic and money. So that is something along the lines of what my particular process looks like. I don't use Gemini, but I use something else, and that's how I see it. But there you have it. Ursol, for guest posts, would you rather publish 30 in January or spread them over, say, 12 months? Which would give the best ranking improvements?
Well, if 30 is our number, then 30 for each month would be more ideal. Ideally, like, you know, I think the 30 each month would be the best. However, like, but if I build 30 now, I'm going to get the benefits in, let's say, 45 days from now. And wherever you hit, you hit. You know, like, you have to stay consistent with these things. So just building 30 and letting it sit is not the way to go, nor do I think spreading 30 over the course of a year is enough unless you're trying to rank for something that really doesn't require links anyway.
Yeah.
So I hope that helps you.
I think, you know, the more the merrier. I certainly don't think 30 is spammy by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it's also, again, competition dependent. You know, is that going to be overkill for certain niches? 30 a month, maybe you might get away with 10 a month in a less competitive market. So that's obviously entirely up to you. But
is that a freaking Louis bag to keep your sinus medicine in?
Yeah.
Oh man. When I grow up, I want to be like you, Craig.
Got to have stuff, dude. I've also got the rucksack as well, just for my laptop. So
nice.
But anyway, onwards and upwards. Franklin, Chris, how do you prospect or attract and close local clients?
Local clients?
Yeah.
Local clients, they'll call. I was running ads inside the Sunday paper in Reading, in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, like half-page ads. It's Saturday and Sunday. So the weekend papers generally get a better distribution, and then you can get a half-page ad or an insert. And then usually if they call and they're local, I'll go and meet them. And like, they don't even know, like, Chris Palmer, the YouTube guy. Like, they don't, I'm just another dude, you know? So I just go and meet them like you normally would. So I mean, I enlighten them just to be able to convey some, because they'll have questions. I'll be like, oh man, I have a channel about this. I go through all of the stuff that I do, what I've learned over the course of time, blah, 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 blah. But I go and meet them. And the main generation is the newspaper. I know, sounds old school, but it's highly effective.
You've got to do what works. And I think that's a good non-traditional answer. I like it. Mikael, long time no see. Relevant guest post with zero traffic versus not relevant but with traffic guest post. Which one are you picking?
Well, yeah, but there was no mention of quality or referring domains or internal linking of the site. So if it's just traffic versus no traffic, then I'm going to take the traffic all day. But now there's another piece that's missing that would sway me. And that is, what's the link? How powerful is it? What page is it on? How many referring domains are there? What category is it in? You left out a few things.
I would also argue that a relevant guest post with zero traffic is not something I'm fucking interested in. Bottom line, I want a relevant one with fucking traffic and some other things that I look at. You know, I why pay money for something that's not relevant just because it's got traffic? You know, I think trying to keep things relevant when it comes to guest posts, we can get generic links through citations, through news, through various other things. I would want to leverage that for generic. And I think guest posts where I actually can control the
everything
website and where it's placed, I would be looking for that to be fucking as relevant as money could buy. So I just wouldn't accept a guest post that wasn't relevant just because it had traffic. But that's me. I may be strange with that thought process, but it is what it is. Mr. Gareth Boyd, what have I missed out on your live? Not much. Just starting, mate. Just starting. But good to see you as always. Yeah. And I'm not always on Twitter. I literally seen today or the other day or yesterday that you mentioned me on Twitter or something about PBNs and I didn't reply. So my bad. I'm starting to feel like you, Palmer. You just don't fucking reply to anyone on anything.
Dude, it's like either you got to hit them all or none. It's like, well, that's how I feel sometimes.
Yeah, I'm going through that phase right now with my socials where I'm just not enjoying.
Because then people see that you're online and then they feel a type of way because like, oh, he was online. He didn't. How come he didn't message me? Jeez, like I won't even look at it then. You know. I know. I know how you feel, man. It's a good problem, though.
Yeah, it's nice. I do like talking to people.
Yeah.
But it's just the influx of shit that comes with it is not fun. But Mikael, any CRO tips for lead gen sites like real estate, legal, dental, any kind of generic tips? Because I'm assuming it's going to be different for every website.
I think the best generic tip I could give is go over to Unbounce. They have a very nice layout of, okay, here's what works, here's what doesn't work. Also, HubSpot has some really nice stuff as far as CRO optimization tips. I would take a look. I mean, the information like, oh, move your forms up. Hey, make the button bigger. Like, I think you know all of these things. So it's going to be different for each site, each niche. However, there's a lot of things that aren't different. And those things have been well documented on sites like HubSpot and Unbounce. And that's where I would go and look. I hope that helps you.
Yeah. I think
one more piece too. I would take a look in the bigger markets. Like who's the big Dundadas in the big cities? And go and take a look at their assets. Right? Like obviously there's somebody working there. Like, you know, if they've had an asset that hasn't changed in a long period of time, like take note. Oh, where's the position of the buttons at? Where's the format? Where's the call button? Take a look at the big guys. Let them figure it out for you. But hopefully that helps you.
Yes, I'm sure it will. Hillary is saying, we saw some improvements on the product pages at first, then it slowed down. So I am worried that the domain authority is holding us back. So I done a consultancy call today and the person was concerned on their overall rankings. I don't know why, but they felt they were suffering from a negative SEO attack. And, you know, it was like a fucking DR17. And it was a fairly competitive market. And I'm just like, your domain's just not fucking powerful to get there. So a lot of the stuff was like sat in position 11, 12, you know, positions like that. And the person just thought it was something else. And I'm like, dude, it's just domain authority is holding you back. You know, if you don't have domain authority, how can you expect your pages to land anywhere decent? So I think overall, that is the most common problem when you see websites, and in particular, no one really wants to pay for links or link building or whatever way you want to do it. And they always do everything else first and then come back and say, hey, why am I not making fucking money?
Yeah, I spent all this time and effort.
You've done all the hard work and you've not done the fucking easiest bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do think domain authority and building that up is vital. Also, I'm just going to jump quickly to the next one, Hillary. Where do you find citations? Palmer sells them, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Palmer, chrispalmer.org, right?
That's it.
Fucking, you changed your domain that many times, I don't know anymore. chrispalmer.org. You can go and get citations. Obviously, Chris give us the unique selling point of your citations? Why should someone use yours and not the other providers out there? What's unique about yours?
There's when talking about citations, though, there is nothing unique. There's a clear, defined list of U.S. general citations, right? And it's clearly defined. I think there's 75 of them. What we're going to do is we're going to take the best list and we're going to build them with the username and password and give you the entire list. The unique selling proposition there, though, is we're taking the best of list that's being offered by everyone for, say, $2 a unit, and we're doing them for half the price. So
fair enough. Half the price is a unique selling point then. So okay. So check him out, Hillary. Mikael, do you analyze competitors' backlink anchor text for subpages and imitate the ratios?
No,
you do stuff like that?
No, I do take a look at their anchor text, though, in order to determine how many exact matches they have. So I know how many high-powered links I need to fire in utilizing exact match. As far as the other ratios, I'm not concerned. But when I want to see their PBN and how fat it is, I will go and take a look at their exact matches. I'll go look at those sites and see. Okay. But matching ratios, I'll lose my mind. My brain will explode. I couldn't. No, absolutely not, sir.
And who's to say their ratios right? You don't want the blind in the blind. So I think you've got to use a combination of experience and stuff as well, and test shit. So see what works for you. But Ursol, so you say you do a hyper relevant post. Would you tend to go for a general news site that covers many topics and try to go get it under a category that best matches it, Chris?
Say you do a hyper relevant guest post. Would you tend to go for a general news? Well, these are two. If I want hyper relevant, I'm looking to figure out, well, which category of link is dominant by the top performers. Usually all the top performers will be getting links in a specific category, like business, industrial, arts and entertainment. Like, what link graph are they in? If I'm looking for a hyper relevant link, I don't care the site, but I do care the category and what's in that page that I'm creating. So I hope that helps you out.
Yeah. But yeah, I would do the same. If you get it in the relevant category, whether that be music, whether it be sport, whatever. That's how I would do it. Mr. Terry Power, good to see you, mate. I'm certainly kind of having a good summer. The weather's not great in Scotland, but good to see you, and hopefully you've got better weather than me. So yes, all good. Franklin, Chris, do you go to conferences? I see Craig every time on Facebook going to events and speaking. I barely see you. Chris got me wondering if you go to conferences. So do you go, Chris?
For leisure, no. I try not to. I don't want to leave work and my son. I feel I get funny, man, when I leave little Chris. So like if someone asks me to speak, then him and I'll chat, like that's business. But as far as going out, nah. I just work.
It just works. But I think it would be also unfair to say that you don't go to events, because you've been to a fair few.
Oh yeah.
So,
I go. I just don't go crazy.
But yeah, again, Chris doesn't post a lot on his social medias that he goes, but he's probably at more than his social media would allow you to believe. Because I think if you look at your social media, I don't even know if you've mentioned one or put up a picture or anything.
Really? I don't.
So that is maybe why Franklin is lazy on his brand promotion. Too busy doing work. That's what he calls it. But we'll leave it at that. But guys, keep the questions coming. We still have half an hour left. Also, do leave us a like, subscribe, and all that kind of jazz on the channel. Hillary, can you help with domain authority with PR backlinks? We do digital PR, like I mentioned earlier. We can get you on a lot of the different publications, reaching out to journalists, trying to, add your quotes in or feed them a pitch of a story and stuff like that. So yeah, we do digital PR. Do you do digital PR, Chris?
No, we do PR. But
yeah.
No, I didn't come up with a cool twist yet.
So it's not just our, by the way, because there's multiple people doing it, but I think we are trying to get links that other people can't get. And I always say that, if I'm considering Chris to be a rival, I want shit that he's either too lazy to get or that, that he won't fucking be able to get because he doesn't know the people or whatever. And I think that's where digital PR and actually pitching and trying to land those is something that obviously I'm keen on furthering my knowledge and experience and everything in that field, because I genuinely do think that that's a great mix to your backlink profile and to get those high-powered links. And of course, you can just pay for some of them as well. So yeah, but reach out, Hillary. Our website is linksforyou.com. And one of the guys there can jump on a call and talk you through how it works and all that stuff.
Quick question.
Yeah.
So when we're doing digital PR, how many links generally come back?
That depends. So if someone buys a package with us, it's $3,500 and we will guarantee you between 8 and 12 links. Now, what happens, Chris, is not every time our journalist writes an article, it's going to be overwhelming and get picked up. So we could send out one campaign and fucking 72 journalists could pick it up and publish it, but it might only be 3. That's the thing. So how many campaigns? So there's certain times when we do a campaign and we'll land, say, 6 links, and we'll have tried 3 different angles. We're promising between 8 and 12. Okay. Have we over-delivered and given someone 27 or 32? Yeah, at times it all comes down to the pitch, but it's also the timing of it as well, because sometimes when we pitch something now, it's a bit meh. The news stories are busy with some other shit. And there's other days where things are quiet and it gets a much more uptake, or it's a trending topic. And for us, when we're pitching, and this is the really important thing to understand, when we get someone coming to us and trying to promote, it's a link building exercise, make no mistake. We need to shoehorn your business into something that's trending and relevant that the journalists are prepared to fucking publish. So you have to be creative. So let's say a roofer came to me, and let's say a fucking roof blew off of the World Trade Center in New York. Touch wood, that doesn't happen. But hey, let's say it does. That would be piss easy to reach out and say, roofing expert, Mr. Jones or whatever your website was, has said that, a roof should never blow off. It must have been this, it must have been that. You should get your roof checked every 6 months. Whatever bullshit quote from a roofing expert, we could get his roofing website into an article like that. And that's the real difficult part of digital PR. You're trying to get someone who's got a lousy business that's not newsworthy, and you're trying to get them in the news. So we don't offer the top level of digital PR, because there's a level above that where you might go to someone, Chris, and pay a PR agency and say, I'm Chris Palmer, and I want you to pitch an article that explains how great a businessman I am and an entrepreneur and all of this bullshit. And they come up with some weird fucking narrative and somehow get it published in big publications. That is a completely different thing. But the one we offer, it's a link building exercise, but you would need to understand that we need to shoehorn your business into a trending topic. Otherwise, the journalists are going to tell you to fuck off. So we had a guy, and he's like, yes, let's say Dave's Roofing's the best in fucking Glasgow. How the hell do we expect a journalist to pick that up and publish it. It's not newsworthy. It's self-promotional. It's greasy. It's just lame. And that does not work for PR. So that is the difference of, you could pay a guest post provider to say what the fuck you like. And even that, even at that, you might get some resistance. But with the actual publications, the journalist has to pick it up. We're guaranteeing you're going to get between 8 and 12. And that's where, having that journalist who's creative, who understands journalism and what journalists are looking for, and then hitting these things at the right time, or finding trending topics to somehow squeeze someone into. So
it's almost like bulk haro.
Yeah, it is. That's the thing.
Man. Okay, I have digital PR available. So it's just bulk haro?
Yeah.
No, there's a different, I get it, yeah. But the same process of like, oh, hey, Martha Stewart blog, Big Dundada, this guy's a pest control thing. He's going to talk about the pesticides and how they're a pain and how they also kill bugs. And boom, we get a link, right? They like quote, it's the same gig.
Yeah,
new twist. I like it.
The problem with Haro is people became aware of Haro. So a journalist would put out, hey guys, I'm looking for a quote on a fucking roofing from a roofing expert. And there'll be fucking 50,000 all in their fucking inbox, bombarding them. And the another key part of it is we've got a journalistic database which we pay for, and you need to land these stories on the right journalist. And whether that's through their social media, whether that's through their email, what a lot of people do is they spam the news desks of all these publications, and you could be landing a story about roofing on someone who's a beauty editor, the beauty editor at these papers. And what happens is you've basically pissed that person off. You've wasted their time reading your crappy little intro, and they fucking block you. And that's why you'll never get a response. So not spamming is also important, because journalists will just bin you in a second. And that becomes a problem. And reaching out through the journalistic database and landing it on the right journalists means that you don't have to do as much volume. So
that's how we started doing the Haros. Very, very similar.
Yeah.
So, we didn't want to make the $5,000 investment, but
that's the barrier to entry. If you don't want to make the $5,000 investment,
then you can't pitch.
You can't pitch. So
I know. I knew. I was like, we were on the fence. Like, should we do it? I don't know. I think we should.
But anyway, that's a bit about how it works. But who are the designated people responsible for backlinks in an agency? So it's a good question to follow on from. We have a designated bunch of people to do the digital PR specifically, because there's a lot to it, the pitching, the content writing and stuff. The same way that we would have someone who just deals with guest posts and they literally deal with that. And again, they've still got to create content or pay for content from someone to get that guest post live. So it's never, who's the designated person? You're going to build a team in your agency to do that. The same way that if I say to Chris right now, dude, who does your guest posts? He'll say like Jamie and Johnny, or Jamie and he's got 3 VAs under him, or whatever the mix is. But you're going to build a team to do that very specific task all day, every day.
Each process. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a learning lesson. It's like a little mini team for every service.
Yeah. And they just become experts at that specific thing. They can just look at a guest post and they know it's dog shit and whatever. The more you do it, you're just like, we can't have fucking Market Watch and fucking, these are all the fucking shit. They could just rhyme it off just with their bare eyes. So yeah, it's where you want to be. You just become an expert in specific parts of the business. Black Hole Super Sloth, good to see you, mate, as always. Huzaifa, does having maps embedded in the footer for a particular location get in the way of other locations, other location pages being indexed?
Do I think that one little being indexed? That's an interesting tidbit. I highly doubt that having an embed inside your footer is what Google's going to say, oh, hey, you've embedded our map into your footer. We're going to not index your page. I highly doubt that. However, I think generally, though, I do see site-wide embeds when they generally should have location-specific embeds, whether it's directional or another type. So do I think that that's the reason why you're not getting indexed? Highly unlikely. Could be. I never tested it, but I don't think so. Why would Google penalize you for embedding their map? Doesn't make sense, So, but what I would focus on is if I have a location page and my location's in Fort Lauderdale and I'm on the Miami page, am I going to just embed the same map across? No, I'm going to put Miami to Fort Lauderdale location. That would be the embed for that page. And I don't think I would do it site-wide in the footer. I would put it in the bottom, but not site-wide in the footer. That might slow things down. I hope that helps you.
Huzaifa is also saying, what are the indexing factors? Is creating a lot of high-quality content one of the factors for indexing? Like a few high-quality pages won't do, but more will.
Well, one of the indexing factors is what's the site's age? How often is it getting crawled? How many links are pointing to it? Like if Google is a bot, they're a crawler and they're always crawling and they keep coming across, like their job is to crawl links, right? So if they keep coming across links that lead back to your page, the probability of this getting indexed or staying indexed skyrockets. And that's why having more links pointing to a page will keep a page indexed or it'll help it get indexed. Because Google's out doing its little job, just crawling and crawling. It keeps running across links that are pointing to you. And that's the objective. I think building links to your pages will help with indexation, but more importantly, keeping things indexed. And then as far as the initial indexation, that goes to quality of content, internal links, page age, site age. There's a lot of other factors. Hopefully that helps you.
Local SEO nerd, any experience with Lindexed service for tiered links?
I've never heard of that.
Neither have I.
Never heard of it. We blast. I like tiered linking.
But not personally heard of that particular one personally. Mikael, what kind of promises do you make for new clients? Do you track positions, leads, and earnings?
I guarantee they're going to do better than they are right now. I can't guarantee any specific thing. Nobody could. I'm not Google. But what I can guarantee is that you will see an increase in traffic and calls and leads. I can't put specifics. I'm not Google, and I never know what's going to happen tomorrow. But from starting right now, if we start doing this work or implementation whatever the plan, the scope of work is, I guarantee we're going to be doing better than you are right now. How much? Hard to say. I'm not Google.
But I think the main thing you can track is rankings, traffic, earnings, that type of thing.
For sure.
Whatever. Cut out the rest. They don't need to know fucking how many tiered links go there and all that bullshit. And they don't even know what it means. So
I used to give every piece like broken down. It just causes too much chaos.
Yeah. What's the difference between Craig's PR service and one like Rise at 7? So, like I said earlier, we are doing it as a link building exercise. Rise at 7 help grow brands and create narratives from scratch, if you like. And like I mentioned earlier, there's a level above. And I think for me, whilst Rise at 7 is also going to be link related, known carry and everything else. I'll give you an example, right? Carry needs no matter who it is, whether it's Carrie, whether it's me, whether it's Chris, doesn't matter. you need to do something that is newsworthy. So she gets a client who has holiday cottages on beaches throughout the UK. Now, this is Carrie's example of explaining it to me. She's creative enough to think of an angle that will get a high amount of press publication and coverage. So she went to 7 or 8 different sands or different beaches and then done this kind of data case study talking about which beaches have the whitest sands in the UK. And she went and took fucking actual samples of the sand and, you know, professional photography and all of that stuff. So she's obviously traveled around. So there's a cost for that. There's, you know, photography and all that kind of stuff. So that whole piecing together that narrative and putting it together and releasing that, of course, you know, someone's going to pick up on that, you know, and I think that campaign worked very, very well for the holiday cottages that paid to get that promotion, because obviously coinciding with that was their holiday cottages was some of these amazing white beaches. So I think, you know, going down to that level of detail, creating a data, you know, getting the data or doing the research and coming up with, you know, because the journalists like facts and figures and all that stuff as well. So, you know, it really has to be a unique angle, and you know, that's where people like Carrie excel, because your general douchebag like probably Chris or I, maybe not that creative and thinking of that angle, you know, whereas some people are. So, you know, I think they do it at a much higher level, but there's a lot more thought, there's a lot more budget, there's a lot more everything. So they can be creative because they know if we need to go somewhere and travel and do research or fucking grab data or grab bits and bobs, they can. The budget's there to do it. Whereas for me, it's purely a link building exercise. I don't give a shit other than landing links. So, but we don't have the budget to go out and create
travel and collect sand samples.
Yeah, there's just no budget for that. So that's the two differences. Hopefully that makes sense.
Taking sand, like, what do you think she charged for that? Like, that sounds like starting at 50. Like, that sounds wild.
I don't even know.
Super expensive, I bet. Plus, they have to have delicious meals while you're out.
That's, but that, you know, that's why the likes of Rise at 7 do work for, like, I don't know, British Airways, or, you know, they're not doing it for Joe the plumber or anything like that. You know, that type of thing. So it's got its place in the industry and works very, very well. It's still great link equity. But how to target the country specifically for the local website? I'm willing to rank for Dubai, and I'm getting traffic from the USA. What needs to be done there, Chris?
I'm willing to rank for Dubai and getting the traffic from USA. What things need to be done? How to target the country specifically for the local website? Well, where's it hosted? How's the content written? Has it been marked that way? Like, is it hosted there? Is the content written? Like, if I want to rank in the UK, am I hosted in the UK? Do I have a .uk TLD? Do I have the canonical, like, it's not US, right? It's UK. You've marked it as UK, right? Like, are you following these procedures? I think those are the first steps. Is let's make sure that we're actually targeting that location. Unless I'm not understanding what you're actually asking me here. Am I missing a piece?
That's how I perceive the question to be. You know, the first questions I would ask is, what's your domain name? Where are you hosting? Where is your backlinks coming from as well? You know,
there you go.
These are the three things I would be asking straight away. You know, if I want to rank in Dubai, I want a .du, I think it is. I can't remember. Or no, .ae. It is a .ae. I want hosted in Dubai. And I also want to try and, you know, get citations and news coverage and various other bits and bobs from Dubai. Of course, I can get power from other countries, but I think if some of those things are off, you're not actually suggesting that you're in Dubai. You know, you're potentially sending other signals to Google, and that may be why you're getting traffic from the USA. So look at those. Honey also asks, how many blogs are needed for one local business page in a local service website? One local business.
I don't think there's a specific amount of blogs. As many as it takes to answer all the questions about your service. So that can vary, but generally you want to answer questions like who, what, when, why, where, and how about the service. So there's no specific number though.
Yeah. No specific number. That could change. Jafar. Hi, Craig. Chris, I'm busy planning a digital marketing seminar in Iran. Are you interested in speaking as a speaker? Chris, you first.
I've never been to Iran. Maybe. Who's going to be there? What's the conference about? Just digital marketing? Who's going to be there? When is it? I've never been there. Maybe. I'd never say no to anything.
One of the decisions that helps sway me, Jafar, is if I've never been there. I've also never been to Iran. So again, you're like, maybe. But it also depends on, do I have other commitments on the dates that your event's on? How many people are going to be at the event? And who else is going? These are important things for me. But I'm sure Chris will agree. Reach out to us, and whether it be Facebook or Instagram or whatever it may be, and we can have the conversation. I think we're both always up for doing something if there's obviously some form of benefit for us, whether that be exposure or whatever it may be. And obviously traveling to different places is
cool. It's fun.
Always fun. So yeah, reach out, but it really does depend on dates and stuff for me personally, because there may be something else on at that time as well. So if you get in touch, we can answer that and hopefully sort something out, because it would be nice to see Iran, that's for sure. Pool Table Master. I want to get more clients in the UK, but I'm not a big fan of Upwork and people per hour. Thoughts on where else I can get freelance clients?
I don't know how the UK is or how your market is, but just like that gentleman that asked before, there's a lot of businesses probably close by to you. Like, what are the advertising mediums that are local? And here's what's great, or not great. A lot of these papers, or like we have coupon clippers here, like these businesses are struggling. So when I come along and I'm like, hey, I'll take the whole, look how much for on the front page, or, I'd be looking for localized stuff. Like media, we have like these little magazines, they call them clippers. They put them in like all the grocery stores and they're everywhere. And for $450, I can get right on the front page, So, like I bought a brick. They were like having like a revitalization of the railroad thing, and all the business owners bought these bricks. And I got to meet all the business owners for the town in one shot for a $200 brick. How cool is that? It was like $200, and I get to meet all the business owners and offer my web service. Yes. So I'd be looking locally. I really, really would. I think you'll be, how many clients do you need? Right? Yeah. Like you get that phone to ring once a month. That can be helpful, I'm sure. So that's where I'd look.
For sure. Professor E. Singles. What? Yeah. Thoughts on whether Search GPT will pose a threat to Google, or is it just a gimmick or something for us SEO nerds?
Well, in my opinion, if anything becomes too large of a threat, Google will eat it and make it their own. So if it is, or on its way, then I would venture to guess that Google will either mock and mirror and or just eat and put their stamp on it. So it's probably just for us SEO nerds for now.
Hillary is asking, with guest blog posts, are you doing one link pointing to your target and the others to authority websites, or would you use all 3 links to your target?
For me, I think maybe 2 max. I would never outbound link to, like, I'm not going to spend dollars and point it somewhere else. If I'm going to spend that equity somewhere, it's going to be to my asset, and then usually 2 separate pages that are hyper relevant. Oftentimes it'll be to the primary service page and then the supporting article that's on my site. But it's up to you to decide. But I would limit the amount of outbound links.
Yeah, I wouldn't be paying to link out to an authority website. To hell with that.
Yeah.
Or maybe we should be teaching people that shit. Yeah, link out to me. I'm an authority.
Definitely. Every link has to point to us.
So Ursol, is there a huge risk of doing digital PR campaign and getting 0 links? The answer is no, there isn't a risk of that at all. You know, we do it for people in the most competitive markets where you're going to struggle, gambling and that type of thing. So there isn't a risk of doing it, providing that the angle is right. And I think that's, you know, where we have had to get better content writers, people who understand journalism and creating and be creative. So I think, you know, there isn't a campaign where we've got 0 links. We will always. Now, some campaigns work better than others, but we would just try different creative angles until we got the target. And yes, there's certain niches where we really have scraped the barrel in terms of achieve, because it's just been a kind of real peculiar niche, if you like. We also had one actually, and it was Australian. So we get people from all over, and it was Australia, and that was really hard. Australian journalists are not as accepting of PR than they are across the world. So Australian was solid, man, and it was a real struggle, but we've never had 0. Absolutely not. And would you just use Madge to get press release links in that instance? I think, you know, if your back's against the wall and you really are struggling, you need to use the next best option. So if you are in a niche, but even at that, I think Madge and guys like that, and Randy, you know, they also have certain guidelines where they can't push certain things or certain narratives. So, you know, they do work within certain restrictions as well. But of course, you know, if I couldn't get it using my way, would I utilize that type of service? Yeah. And if that wasn't available, I would just start building PBNs or whatever. There's always a workaround to getting the links that I need. But I would rather do it the easy way and the cost-effective way and the time-efficient way. And if that means utilising what someone else has got, I'll happily pay them. And that's how I see it anyway. But Craig, do you have any plans of going back to the SEO agency model? I guess you stopped, if I'm not mistaken. I've got a link building agency, which is arguably still an SEO agency to some degree. Would I want to grow and scale an agency and grow staff and get a bigger office and do all of that stuff that's really fucking stressful? Absolutely not. You know, I've got friends who've got agencies who leverage VAs. You know, I've got one local friend who does not have a physical member of staff in the UK, and he does some real good money. So it can be done. It's just not for me personally. I just think dealing with too many clients was the problem. It's stress from the clients. It wasn't hiring staff or scaling or processes or anything like that. I think the biggest problem was clients being maniacs and unrealistic expectations. And would I want to do that in a scalable level? Nah. So, if I can do link building only and do some consultancy and do, some of my own projects and stuff like that, then I think that is the type of model that I want. It's just trying to get that balance and not have that amount of stress. So not for me, mate. And Chris knows what I'm talking about. Mikael, what's the most common SEO stuff that doesn't move the needle that much, but people waste their time on, Chris?
Speed issues, technical issues, some technical stuff. I see a lot of people spinning their wheels on that, speeding up their sites, design stuff, placement of things, image minifications and messing with the images, schema. I think that's about it. There's probably more if I think a little bit longer.
And last two questions, guys, because we are a minute over and I'm conscious of Chris's time. We are working as an in-house extension to companies' backlink team in over 60 regions. Do you have any suggestions for us? Network, talk to people. That's it. If you're doing it in over 60 regions, you would probably be better giving us advice.
Yeah.
You're doing well by the sounds of it. Ishmael, I was ranked 7th for this keyword, but after my website was suspended by DMCA, I recovered my rankings a few days later. Unfortunately, I dropped to the 28th position and I am now unsure of how to recover. What do you think, Chris?
So you relaunched the page, it went back up, but then it dumped. Sounds like the 27 people in front of you, there's some modifications that have been made to the SERP. Something has changed, right? Google generally doesn't make mistakes. So there's 27 people in front of you, right? Where is the deficit? Where is it? Is it links? Is it internal links? Is it speed? Is it images? Is it the on page? Is it what is it? There's a deficit, So go and take a look. What's Google rewarding? If all else fails too, maybe a new page could be in your best interest. Maybe a different angle. Maybe the intent has changed. So hopefully that helps you.
And finally, is my PR service reactive PR or more about crafting original stories? It's actually both of those. Of course, if we can go and do some reactive PR and get some easy, quick wins, happy days, but not everything and every niche is trending and on point every day of a week or a month. So we do have to craft original stories and be creative as well. So a mixture of both is what we have to do. I would probably say, in fact, it's probably more 70-30 in favor of original stories in a lot of cases. We've got to craft something and hope for the best, essentially. But this really is the last one. How do you perceive schema markup? Many believe it's a gimmick, while others say it's a hidden gem. Depends what you're using it for, Franklin. Chris, what's yours?
Well, I don't think it's a gimmick. I think it's a good idea to mark up the enhancements that are on your pages. If there's an enhancement or a reward inside of the SERP, then I want to build that schema markup. That's it. But going above board or like going crazy with it, it's not for me.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm aiming for enhancements. There's like 26 or 27 Google gives a reward for. If I can be rewarded or get a bonus inside of the SERP, then we want to take that. And then I think it's a great idea to name certain elements of the main homepage, of the main entity, like main entity, organization. I think having certain schema markups like your breadcrumbs, your nav list, marking up your images, organization, web page, main entity of page, name in your place, like having the things that outline your business is a good idea. But all that other stuff, it's not for me. And I've tested it every which way. Like it doesn't duplicate success every single time. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It's not worth all that time and effort for a sometimes or a maybe. So like when I build a link, I get a benefit. When I push traffic, I get a benefit, So that's my thoughts on it.
Cool. Anyway, we are out of time, guys, but appreciate all the questions. It went very, very quickly, just how we like it.
Yes, that's good.
Do check out chrispalmer.org.
I was going to say the news guy.
The chrispalmer.org, because he obviously comes along and offers amazing advice and, of course, has services, consultancy, masterminds, and everything else. So go check it out. And if any of those are of interest, then by all means, fill your boots. But also do check the news guy. The link is below. And finally, make sure you do like, comment, subscribe, give abuse, whatever you like. Give us some engagement anyway. And we'll see you at the same time next week.
See you then.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.